Well, my friends, I am back. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I took a little time because I was so surprised how quickly the weather had started to change here. I was right in the middle of finishing up maybe 2 summer sweaters or, something to finish in the summer. And all of a sudden, I got this. That's always my sign that fall is in the air. Apparently, I must have fall allergies. So I immediately put those aside because I can come back to them at another date, and which is great. I'll always have something on the needles. And then I thought, well, what can I do now to go ahead? I didn't feel anymore like doing summer. I wanted to get right into fall. And this is what I came up with. You saw in the title, it says Jay's Knit, top down or bottom up. And as you know, I don't call myself specializing in sweaters, but those are the things I like to knit. And ever since I've been on YouTube, I've shared with you my little simple formulas or my little system or my little designs and shared with you how I got them. And then just while I was looking, all of a sudden, something just came to me. And I saw something so like a common denominator, something so simple that I had not noticed before until now. And so I went about to get things ready so that I can share with you. You can knit top down or bottom up and start it the same way with the same start. And you think, well, how can that be, Jay? One's top down, one's bottom. Well, I'm glad you asked. So that's what this episode is about. I'm going to show you how to set up my style of knitting sweaters because I'm a visual learner and a visual sharer. And I really, if you say that I specialize in anything, I specialize in keeping the same steps as much as possible. I just do the same steps. I like the same numbers. I do the same steps. It's so that I don't waste time changing every time I want to knit a sweater. And some people might find that a little boring, a little redundant, but I don't know. Even beginners, I'm going to show you how a beginner knitter and a seasoned knitter like me, I believe you're going to like what I'm about to share with you. It's going to be fun and informative, and I believe it's going to improve your skills and give you a lot more enjoyment on how to make garments. So just look at this and tell me, what do you see? Well, Jay, I see a stripe of purple or lavender, whatever, kind of a purple color. Looks like a 1x1 ribbing. And then I see a kind of a fall off-white, not cream color, more of a gray tone to it. I see the same thing. Well, when you look at it, they look the same, don't they? Well, guess what? This one is bottom up. This one is top down. Or let me say it like this. I'm going to share with you how to make this one bottom up and share with you how to make this one top down. A little play on words. Trying to get you excited because I believe this is going to be a game changer for those who follow me and, like I said, who are visual learners and you just want to knit a sweater. You're not into the, the big hoo-ha. You just want, Jay, I want to knit a sweater. Well, this is how I'm going to share with you. The first thing we're going to do is, first of all, before we can cast on, I got to give you a little size help. So I'm going to pull out a little size chart just to help. I'm not going back all through how I get the numbers anymore. I'm over with that. Either you in and you've worked with me, or you're just going to have to follow me and make adjustments as we go. So I'm going to let you take a look at this and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about size, and then we'll go into a schematic, and then we will cast on. All right. I hope you enjoy this. Back in just a minute. All right, so first of all, let's talk about size and needle size. body size and needle size. All right, this is just a simple chart help. Like I said, I'm not going back to all the beginning. I'm going to give you some basic numbers, and you can see if you may fit into one of these. I don't have any measurements. I just use the generalized from what if I went to Target or TJ Maxx or Walmart or something and bought myself a little shell top. I would normally buy the 2X size. So that's how I know that I'm a usually about a 1X. I know the 3X is too large, so I usually get the 1X to 2X. And it's just general sizing, because I don't do a lot of increases and decreases in my knitting. Okay? All right, so here we go. This is gauged to a US number 9 needle. Now, because I represent more of the fluffy side of all these sizes, if you're not a fluffy size person, you're pretty, a little, even though you may wear, say this large, but you're not really fluffy. You don't have things jiggling or a lot a lot of junk in the trunk. You could probably knit these same sweaters using the same numbers with a US number 8. But for us who are fluffy, just to give, not since I don't do increases and all of that, but just to give some slight body ease to our garments, I usually gauge my projects to a number 9 needle. And I use number 4 medium weight yarn. Just your plain everyday. The quality of yarn is up to you. When I'm presenting this as your practice, as you're kind of getting into it or learning how to feel your way on these sweaters. So I don't want you to ruin your good yarn. So if you have some nice number 4 weight yarn, I buy a decent yarn, but it's not like I wouldn't, if it was something new, I wouldn't just go get the $40 skein yarn. I'd get something more practical until I made a few. But number 4 weight would be perfect. And for this sweater, these sweaters, I am using, this is a stash buster. I went to my stash. I love this yarn. I have nothing against it. It's just something I use. Here's Lion Brand Heartland yarn. Lion Brand, and this is Heartland. Now you can get any color. I don't know what colors I got. I just grabbed up what was in there. You would need at least 3 skeins. If you are of the larger size, just go ahead and have 4. I always buy my yarn in skeins of 4. Okay, that's just me. But have at least 3. But I, suggest having 4. So before you start, go to your stash. Look to see what you have that you need to start using, people. You got so much yarn from years and years of sales and buying. Oh, Lord. I don't even want to get into it. Okay, so let's take care of that. So we've taken care of the needle size. That's what this is gauged to. But a number 8 is appropriate if you're less fluffy. Number 4, medium weight. I just told you the yarn. All right, let's look at the first size, a large to 1X. I've stopped dealing with smalls and all the medium. I don't know anybody small. And everybody I know is fluffy like me. So that's where I'm starting. Large to 1X. You're gonna have 88 stitches, and since we're going to be doing the 1x1 ribbing flat, I always add 1 extra stitch, so your total cast on will be 89 stitches. Easy peasy. 1X to 2X, I'm in the center, so that's me. Same number I've been using. It still fits, it still works. 96 plus 1, that's to make the ribbing so I can have it equal on each side or all the way across. Okay, I cast on 97 stitches. Now, the 2X to 3X, this is just me doing it by math. You have to know your body type and size. I start with 104 stitches plus the 1 equals a cast on of 105 stitches. Once you kind of decide on this, what you think will fit you good. We will be knitting the bottom of what you see here in the 1x1 ribbing. 1x1 ribbing, and I'm going to have you knit it for 7 rows. And I'm going to show you all of that in just a moment. We're going to actually take you through my ribbing setup and my knitting to make sure you're doing it the same, because my ribbon always turns out beautiful. There's a few things that I do. Look, I do the same steps, and it always turns out beautiful. So that's all we have to do to get started. And then, of course, once, like I say, we'll go ahead and cast on, and then later we'll talk about schematics and on down, a little further. Can you see that? Is that clear? We are practicing, but I want to show you an easy way to get it in your mind to make simple garments, simple sweaters, top down or bottom up. And we're going to use the same start. The same start. So you don't have to, like, now, how did I start? How did she do it? It's going to be in one place for you to find it. This is just like when I did you remember the top-down shawls when we were working out of Melissa Leitman's book? And I said, okay, instead of me every time we do a shawl, I have to back up and tell you about the garter tab, how to start that. I did one start for all those shawls, and I simply called it the 5-ridge garter tab. So this is once we do this, this will be the start for either top down or bottom up sweaters that I am going to, this series that I'm going to do. And you think, well, Jay, how are we going, well, I will, once we finish this video, then I will separate the videos. I will have simply say Jay's Knit Bottom Up Sweater. You know that's for you. Jay's Knit Top Down. You know that's the one for you. But they'll be running right behind each other. It won't be like, okay, 2 months later I show up with something. No, they're going to be right behind each other as we knit this in real time. Because it's just getting where I just can't knit, get everything done. I'm older, people. But I can still knit in real time. And then I want to share with you how easy it is and answer any questions that come up. All right, take a look at that. Write down the information that applies to you, your body type. Of course, I will have tricks and little ideas and things along the way to tell you. This is just the basic start. All right, back in just a moment. All right, so I'm back with a sample of the ribbing, the 1x1 ribbing that I'm going to share with you. I've shared if you've been working sweaters, and most of you know how, but I wanted on this beginner, this start that I'm making, so that, once I have this done, then we can work, especially as I introduce more charts, we can work faster. This part I can simply say, do your ribbing, do your 1x1 ribbing, or if we're going to knit top down, go ahead and do your ribbing, and I will meet you there, and or bottom up, because it's going to be the same start. We will get fancier as we go, but this is to get this series started. I've been doing this ever since I've been on YouTube, and like I say, especially since I started the Melissa Leitman book. All right, so here we go. We're not knitting in the round, so you don't have to worry about connecting or anything. I have that one extra stitch so that I can keep everything, so it'll work out equal when it goes around. The first stitch, now I knit the first and last stitch. Some people prefer to slip them, okay? That is up to you. You can do whatever is good for you. But I do knit, so, and they are not part of the ribbing. They're just an edge stitch. So I just knit the first stitch, which is the edge. Stop. Now, this is the first row, this cast on row, and it is a wrong side. So row 1 all the time will be row 1. All right, so that means I need to bring my yarn in front because I'm going to start with a purl one, then yarn in back, knit one, front, purl one, in the back of the needle, knit one. If you're a continental knitter, you know what to do. All right, in the front, if you get sidetracked, just go back and find the stitch and go knit, purl, knit. And now I'm ready to purl, yarn in front, so purl one, in back, knit one, in front. So it's just that simple. I do the same steps all the time so that it becomes habit. It's muscle memory. And that's what I want it for you, so that we don't have to waste time doing this every time. I'll simply say, cast on your ribbing, you know your size, cast on the ribbing, and I will meet you back. See? It becomes elementary. Elementary, my friends. So there's that. We're going to work ourselves around, and I will see you as I get closer to this end. Knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, all the way around. All right, back in just a moment. All right, I'm almost to the opposite end. We are working around. This is the first row. It is row number 1, and it's the wrong side. I started with one edge stitch where I knit, and then the ribbon started with a purl, so I want to end with a purl stitch and then an edge stitch. So let's go. If you lose track, let's go. Knit, purl, knit, purl. So now I need to knit a stitch, knit one, then yarn in front, purl, then in back, knit, purl, knit, stop and look. I have 2 stitches left. Tells me I'm right on course. So after I knit that stitch, I bring the yarn in front, I purl because I started the row, a wrong side row, with the purl. Then this stitch is simply the edge stitch to match the edge stitch on this end. So the yarn goes in back, I knit the edge stitch, or you slip, or whatever you normally do. So now let's stop for a moment. Row 1 was a wrong side row. It's an odd number. So when I turn the work, it will be row 2, and all even numbers will be the right side of the work. Of course, we can mark it, but you should be able to look at the bottom edge and see that I'm now on the right side. Well, guess what? Now we're going to do, the stitches should be lined up just opposite. That first stitch is not part of the ribbing, so I knit. You slip or whatever. Now the ribbing starts. It should be a knit one, then yarn in front, then the next stitch should be a purl, then in back a knit and a purl, and back a knit. Just like that. Does that make sense? Now you will continue all the way around on this right side row, and then when we get here, it will be just the same. We will end with a knit stitch, and then that one edge stitch, I go ahead and knit it, or you slip it, or whatever you do, or knit through the back loop, whatever you do. All right, continue around, and then I'll be back shortly. All right, so I'm coming to the opposite end. Knit one, let's see, knit, purl, knit, purl. Now I'm just reading the stitches from the previous row. So now I need to knit, yarn in back. This was the right side because this is row 2, so I should end the ribbon with a knit stitch. So there's knit, then purl, and then just like clockwork, I have 2 stitches left, and I have a knit stitch to end the ribbing, and then I'm going to knit my last stitch that just represents an edge. Does that make sense? All right, so now let me just move some of this out of the way so that you can see my ribbing Nice and neat. Now you're just going to turn the work. Every odd number is a wrong side row, or should be if you did your counting correct. And then every right side row should fall on the even number. You are to continue until you come to row 7. At row 7, I'm going to switch this one and put this one over here. Row 7, let's just get this straight here for a minute. Row 7 will be the wrong side of the ribbing. So when you turn, you will be on the right side of the fabric, and we'll call it, of course, row 8 because it's an even number. That's where you need to stop, and you will wait for me there. So now you have some ribbing to do, and I will meet you at row 8 on the right side of this nice, this is what you should have. Now, right off the bat, you're going to go, Jay, mine doesn't look like it's going to fit. It's the hardest thing to get new knitters or people who have not knitted, for a while. Whenever the fabric is on the needle, it is always deceptive. It never looks like it's going to look. I can't tell you how many times I would just start over on things. And then when I pulled it off the needle, man, it just blooms out. It just spreads out. So don't go by that. Let's trust the numbers, okay? But this is the ribbing, what you should have. You should be ready to work row or be on the right side for row 8 when you finish. Now look how nice and wide this ribbing. That's another thing I'm going to do a better job at. Not be in such a hurry to get to the project, but to give myself a nicer, substantial ribbing, whether it's top down or bottom up. Remember, this is the start for either one, top down or bottom up, so that it will work. Okay, so do that, and I will see you at row 8, and we'll go from there. All right. Now, so for, newer knitters, I suggest that you do bottom up first. And I'm going to, because top down, it's going to be a lot more involved and a lot more things to remember. This is an easy way to get into the sweater knitting pattern. Just knitting, really simple. But I'm going to add a little something here to make it interesting. But it's going to be a nice format for you to just simply get settled in. I'm going to knit a sweater, and I'm starting in the very back, and I've already done my ribbing. Does that make sense? All right, so that's just, if you just take my suggestion, then you will get to the top down. So we're going to go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and start talking to just the bottom up knitters who are going to knit this particular sweater, bottom up. All right, so the first thing, we just finished, and when I left, the last row was a wrong, you were on row 8. Should be a right side row. You see that? Well, before I go any further, before I start row 8, I'm going to go ahead on that last row I just finished, which was row 7. I'm going to mark that with a piece of contrasting yarn. I marked my wrong sides. The work is done on the right side, so you always know mainly where the right side is. It's just to let you know this is the wrong side of the fabric. And now I'm going to put this so that my eye can see it at all times and know whether I'm to purl or knit or whatever, the basic things. All right, so you see I have marked, took a crochet hook, a piece of contrasting yarn, and I simply put like a little piece of fringe there. Okay, and then I put it on both ends so that I don't have to search for it. My eye will be able to find it immediately as soon as I turn. So now going back to the front where you just finished, working row 7, and now this is row 8, the right side. Well, all these stitches, we still have knits and purls, and that's just not going to work. We need to even everything out. I like to even all my stitches out and get all the stitches on one accord. So we're simply going to, on row 8, all of you that are working now bottom up, now we'll be separating. I will work a little bit on this bottom up sweater on this tape. Then the top down sweater will be on another video. It'll come after this, so you won't have to wait that long. But I want to get this one up and get it on the YouTube, and then you can look for the top down sweater to keep it from being confusing. But I am on the right side, row 8. Now I'm simply going to knit. That will even out all the stitches so I don't have purls and knits, purls, and oh my gosh. Oh my. So I just simply knit across the whole row, just like this. Remember, I'm just using some Lions brand Heartland yarn. It's nice. It knits up really nice. It works well with this number 9 needle. In fact, I think it calls for a number 9, but it works really nice. I use bamboo. That's just what I'm used to. If you don't like drag, then you can use, whatever, metal needles or whatever you like. This is a number 9. And I am just knitting across. Does that make sense? All right. Then what you're going to do is to continue. This is the bottom up. That's why I have 2 different colors. This is the bottom up sweater. Even though everything is the same, but now knit all the way across. And then I want you to knit back. I don't want you to purl back. We're going to work this sweater in garter stitch. And I'm going to give you a good reason why, and you're going to have great success. We're going to do this in garter. Remember the little boho jacket? Okay. All right. I'm going to show you, instead of starting on that big old piece of fabric, I'm all in one. I'm going to show you how to go up the back and down each front. But we're going to do it in garter. So right now, all you have to do is knit all the way around, turn the work to the wrong side, and knit all the way back, and I will meet you there. All right, take your time. You don't want to drop any stitches. Back in just a minute. All right, for those that are working this bottom-up sweater, when I left, okay, we were on row 8. Once we got to row 8, and we needed to clean up all the stitches, so I simply knit all the way around on the right side, and then on the wrong side, I simply knit all the way back to the beginning. Now, we have all our stitches are cleaned up, and we have started our garter knitting for the body of the sweater. Bottom up, you are in the very back of the sweater. We have done our ribbing section, and now as we go from the bottom up towards, working the body up towards the shoulder, we will be working in the garter stitch. Just knit every row. And I'm telling you, even though you may not like garter or you think you don't, trust me, this is going to be a good and fast way to get this sweater done. All right, now we can go to, now that we have that, we're all on one accord, we're on the front, we have knit 2 rows. You can see them there. All right, now we can look at our little schematic. Now listen, don't try to get all fancy and all that. All you want is like a little cheat sheet. That's all. You just want something to look at. And I'll make sure that you get a shot in the beginning pictures, like a screenshot, for those that are working this sweater. Like I suggested, if you are new or returning knitter, start with this. the top down has a lot of working parts, and this way you get in the swing of things a lot faster. On my little simple schematic, Jay's knit, bottom up sweater. All right, we're knitting in this direction. All right, we have done the ribbing, and if you can see, I left a little space here on the schematic that shows like a, on each side. I'm going to add a little lace that we got off of one of the charts, because as I try to move you and get you more comfortable with knitting from charts, it's a lot faster and a lot easier and less mistakes. But it's a good way to introduce lace to just simple knitting. We just take it off the chart. We just worked. The chart that we just worked was chart 94. And we're simply going to take this same little stitch that we've used before. It's a yarn over, then there's a symbol that says slip 2 stitches, knit 1, then reach back and pass those 2 slip stitches over and off, and then end with a yarn over. Alright, so now I had to increase it a little bit because I wanted it to be a lace border or right on the edge. So here it is. I'll hold it, but I'm going to read it out. You're going to knit 3, yarn over, then the symbol, slip 2 stitches, knit 1, reach back and pass the slip stitches over and off, yarn over. Then I need to knit 1 stitch, stop because there's going to be a marker there. You slide the marker and then you continue on knitting. This little lace in this little space here, on the front and on the wrong side, you should have 7 stitches at all times. Won't have to purl back, we will knit back, but it will have 7 stitches. Does that make sense? There's your little schematic. Now let's get it started on the piece of fabric. I'm going to sit it right there so that I can see it. And you can see it too. Let me check my camera, see if I'm in a good range. Okay, I think that's going to be good. Here we go. For those that are starting the bottom up, you're going to knit 3, 1, 2, and 3. That's the edge right there, one side. Then yarn over the needle. Now I want you to slip 2 stitches, knit 1, reach back and pass those 2 that you slipped over and off, just like this. Even if you didn't do the shawl, you can learn this little lace. Now yarn over and knit 1 stitch and stop. Let's stop and count. You should have 7 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 7. Now you know I had to come without my marker, so you have to excuse me for reaching over. J, 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 J. I think I have everything ready to roll. It's always one little thing that just throws you off kilter, isn't it? Okay. If it's not the cicadas, it's something else. So I have 7 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 7. I'm going to place my first marker to let me know that that's my border. Everything else we just knit across. So I go back into the knitting mode. Just knit. Just like this. Alright, I'm going to knit across, and then we will come to the opposite edge because we need to reverse what we just, the little lace stitch. And I'll show you why. But now I'm just knitting across. You don't have to worry about purling or anything. The border and then knit. I will see you as I get to this edge. Back in just a minute. Get my little marker. I'm going to be ready. Alright, back in just a minute. Alright, so I'm coming up to the opposite side of our first right side row where we're adding the border on each side. It takes 7 stitches, so I can go ahead and start on this end and count backwards. 2, 4, 6, 7 to kind of see where I am, or you can put something there till you get there if you want to. But I'm knitting over, And I see that I have 7 stitches left. 2, 4, 6, 7. Now I'm going to add my marker to match this marker to let me know that's just my border. Now on this side, right side of the work, but on this edge, we need to reverse what we just worked on at the beginning. At the beginning, we knit 3, yarn over, and then we did all of that. But we ended with a knit 1. So now on this side, we start with reading the lace backwards, and it's on your paper. Now we're just going to read it backwards. We're just going to read it this direction. Knit 1, yarn over, the same little symbol, and then end with a knit 3 so that it gives us a nice edge. That makes sense. So here we go. Knit 1, yarn over. Now I'm going to slip 2 stitches, knit 1 stitch, reach back and pass the slip stitches over, 1, 2, and then don't forget to yarn over again. Then I knit the last 3 because we need those as the edge, right on the edge of the sweater. So 1, 2, and 3. Now, this is just the opposite from the other edge, but we have to have that so that we have a nice straight edge going up this side and on this side. What do you think of that? Does that make sense? Now, the reason I'm adding this little lace, as we go up the side of the sweater on each edge, and then we get up to the arm, where we might want to add a sleeve later. You will be able to leave it as a vest style, or we can add sleeves, but you'll have a nice, pretty little decorative edge there to pick up stitches if you want to, or just leave it like a vest style. Either way. Now, once I finish this edge, I turn the work. And believe me, there's no work to really be done. When you turn the work, all you're going to do is start out and knit all the way across, all the stitches. You don't have to purl or figure out where you should purl. You just knit. Take your time and don't lose those yarn overs in the border, though. Always, if you come up shorter than 7, that means you skip one of the yarn overs. And you just knit. The marker just tells you where it stops. Slide the marker and just keep right on knitting. Just like this. Like I said, and if in doubt, you can always count those 2, 4, 6, 7. Always be able to check yourself. Now the center part of the sweater is just knitting. Just knitting across. Just like that. Alright, let me go ahead and knit across, and I'll come back and end this video and give you your assignment. Just go over it, make sure you understand what you're doing. If you're starting with the bottom up, that you are, just want to increase your sweater skills, and a good place to start is with this simpler bottom up sweater. Alright, back in just a moment. Alright, I just want to get ready to end this video and set you on your way. Give you a pat on the back if you made it this far. Alright, little tip though. I don't know, for some reason, yarn overs, I guess they just need love, because sometimes they like to snuggle up to the stitch right next to it. So if you start across, and maybe you start working the little lace part, and you think, oh man, I only have 6 stitches. Oh my God, I dropped a yarn over. No, before you panic or do anything, pull each stitch out separately. Just like this. 1, 2, 3. Those, sometimes the yarn over, look, right there. They like to snuggle up. I guess they just need a little love. They like to snuggle up to the stitch right next to them. I can't tell you how many times I've been like, in a panic and thought, I've dropped one of my yarn over. No, just count them individually. Just pull them apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it is probably there. Now, if it's not after you pull them, you'll count them one by one, then you did drop one. You just go back and see where you need to do a yarn over. You just pick up a strand and keep right on knitting. But you should have 7 stitches going and 7 stitches coming. On the border. Now we can stop and talk, and let me just share with you where you're going. Alright, so now here is, let's see if I'm on, if I need to back a little bit to get it all in. Okay, how about straightening it up a little bit? Okay, so now you can see what we have for those that are doing the bottom up. Well, it goes this way, I'm sorry. I'm so busy trying to get the camera right. Here's the bottom edge. This is down near your waist, right here. See, this is not a hip sweater, but I will maybe later on show you how to maybe get more of a tunic style, but this is down near your waist right here, okay? And then this is going up the body, up towards your shoulders. Now you have to decide on about, you're just going to keep working, do your little edge and your lace and knit every row. Then you'll have to decide about how many inches do I want to go up, or that I need to go up the back, my back. And I'm just going to use 20 inches. I'm just going to use something really simple and plain. Don't use strange numbers. So if I decide to go up, say 20 inches. Say if I decide to go up 20 inches from the bottom all the way up. All right, I want to stop at least 3, maybe. I don't want you to go up too far. Stop say 4 inches shy of the 20 inches. So that means I'm going to knit. I'm going to be working my pattern now, and you're going to be working yours up to at least 16 inches, 16, 17 inches. Don't go all the way up, so that I can decide on how we're going to get up to our shoulders. I'm thinking, and I want to make it. I don't want to make it too hard. I want to keep it simple for you. But stop. So now you have an assignment to knit, do your lace on each side, and stop about 4 inches short of this number, however many inches you need to get to your shoulders, from the bottom to your shoulders. Does that make sense? Well, I hope you like this idea. I hope you like this little series that I'm doing. I just wanted to make it, I don't know, something just said, Jay, try to figure out a way to make it easier for more people, because I read the messages. I can't tell you how many say, Jay, I love your tutorials. I like coming, but I just haven't gotten to doing a sweater. Okay, well, Jay's stepping back and trying to step it up to get you to step it up with me and join me in this series. Easy. Just knit every row. All right, so that's your homework. Then the next video will just be the top down part for people who are going to work top down. This ends this part of this video, the bottom up. I'll come back later and catch you at 4, as we get near the top. Does that make sense? All right, any questions, you can always leave them in the comments. Tell me what you think. Let me know your progress. Keep me posted. It just looks just very simple and easy. I think you'll be able to follow it just fine. The little lace just gives you a little something to help you stay awake. That's all, and just makes a pretty edge as you go up the sides. Well, this is Jay, so I'm going to get off so that I can get this up and get this going. And I thank you so much for joining me on this. I'm so excited. And then I will start work on the top-down video so that I can get it up in just a few days. So you can just give me a few days, and I will have that up and ready for you too. Thank you so much. I'm excited. So to all my friends, everyone, everywhere, happy knitting. And I will see you soon. I'm checking back in with you. Leave any messages or comments or what you think. Give me an idea. Nobody wants to just do work and then don't know what people think about it. So if you let me know if you're going to be one of the people that's going to step out. Hopefully there's going to be many. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.